Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. You're watching right now the Facebook live feed, and I'm recording with Maria, and we're just super excited that you guys are here to join us today. That are watching us live. The whole idea here behind the live feed is so that you guys can be engaged in the conversation. We're sharing these things, making comments. If you've got something that stands out to you, maybe what we can do is we can show it on the screen to have a replay. You can also put comments in the comment section, and we'll be glad to do those things too. Oh, look at this. John's joining us from the clerk's office. John.
Hey, John.
What a good guy. Doing his calling on Thursday? Closed down on Thursdays.
Yeah, it's late.
Oh. All right. Well, go ahead and get started. Everybody, episode of the third hour of power. My name is Grady of This More in Life, and this week I am joined by Maria of Meck. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sorry, my audio's cutting out a little, so I'm going to try and adjust. Can you hear me?
Probably a little bit too further. Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, great.
Oh, that's how you were doing tonight.
Oh, I'm good. I have a kid-free house, so I'm really good.
Yeah, me too. The wife and the kids are all in California this week, and so I've been kind of bashing it up. I went to the movies last night with a buddy. It was kind of nice. I miss them, though. They come home tomorrow, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I made the mistake of telling them we'd be done at 8. I really should have said it's like a 3-hour podcast, so I'd have lots of time to myself, but they'll be back.
All right. Well, this week we're talking about chapter 14 from the Gordon B. Hinckley Manual, and it's losing ourselves in the service of others. And I read this lesson, especially the last section, which we'll get to in time. But this last section was really good. But Maria, why don't you start off today? Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you got out of the lesson?
Well, a ton. Actually, I kind of cherry-picked this one as we were looking at options, but I really love the concept of that you kind of find yourself when you serve, that, you know, it's all about losing yourself, but I like the idea of you get your best self out of the deal. So I loved that piece of it.
Oh, yeah. Especially we talked about that stake president who had served for so long, and just the growth that he had. You know, I saw that a lot in these callings that, you know, the person that they were when they first accepted that calling and the person that they were when they got released was a totally different person, especially with callings that ask a lot of you, like a bishop or stake president. Right.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the transformation, especially in different wards that we go to. You know, we've lived a lot of places, and you can see such huge transformations of people as they, you know, get a big calling and then they grow and, you know, have to work really hard, or you yourself have to work your guts out to pull it off. And yeah, I just thought that was a cool concept. I liked how they made a big, you know, in the Gordon B. Hinckley Manual, it really focuses on that if you want to find joy and you want to find happiness, you got to go out and serve. And I think that's kind of our, you know, you hate to say that to somebody if they're struggling, they're in despair, they're, you know, having a down day. You hate to turn around and say, hey, you should go serve. You should go do more for others. But it was so well pointed out. I loved it.
Although if you think about it, whenever someone's down, there's not really anything they want to hear from you except for like, hey, let's go have cookies and ice cream.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's so true.
I feel like sometimes there's nothing you can say to make things better except for ice cream.
Right. Exactly. Or a movie like you. See, there you go.
Yes. Yeah, I had a great time. I like too in the very beginning, President Hinckley talks about how our lives aren't ours, that they're a gift from God. He says that so many of us use our lives as if they were entirely our own. Ours is the choice to waste them if we wish, but that becomes a betrayal of a great and sacred trust. It really helped to put in perspective our purpose in life, you know, which in the grand scheme of things is that we come here to become like our Heavenly Father and to be able to live with Him again. That's what we're aiming for. But how do we do that? You know, how do we get to that point? And what do we do with the time we have to get there? And I think part of that, Heavenly Father, that we want to be like Him. That's why He put us here, so that we can help bless other people.
Right. I love that. I thought it was so cool to see it never really had occurred to me before, but at what point in this like earthly life did we decide it's about us? I was thinking of my teenage kids and their phones. We've had this discussion so many times where they think their phone is theirs. I bought it for them. I pay for the monthly service and I gave it to them for certain reasons. I expect them to use it for school and for church apps and things like that. But they all of a sudden, because they're, 17, think that it's theirs. And so there is you're constantly trying to remind them like, oh no, this is why I gave you this gift. This is what you were intended to do with it. And I think we're a lot like that. We just, we come here and we get kind of entitled and think, oh no, this is all about me. This is what I want, what I intend. And I think it's easy to get that mixed up.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost you. Hang on.
When I was a teenager and in my young 20s, free agency was going like
Grady, I lost your sound. Can you hear me?
all right. That was crazy for a second there. Let me see if I can get Maria to join me again.
Can you hear
There
me?
you are.
Hey, I found you. Sorry, did we lose everyone watching?
No, we're okay. Well, yeah, we did, but
yeah, I figured. I don't know what happened. It just died. I'm gonna try and secure it better. Can you hear me still?
Okay.
All right, we'll keep rolling.
I can hear you great.
Okay.
All right. Woo. Fun times.
That was scary.
So we were talking about service and cool. One of the things that you talked about earlier was just the idea of when someone's feeling down and how service can help them out. In fact, the second section, really talks about that too. I'm going to go ahead and show it. There we go. The second section is that service is the best medicine for self-pity, selfishness, despair, and loneliness. President Hinckley talks about how he went to a college campus and all the students, they were really upset about stuff. The housing is bad, school's too hard, and all these things. And President Hinckley was just talking about how they have such a great opportunity to get an education. He says that I counseled the youth that if the pressures of school were too heavy, if they felt to complain and about their housing and food, then I suggested a cure for their problems. I suggested that they lay their books aside for rooms and go visit someone who is old and lonely or someone sick and discouraged. Have you ever seen things like that where serving has been a way to get out of a funk that you were in?
Yeah, there's been a lot of times when we are under the weight of things. My husband just got through cancer a little while ago, maybe a couple months ago. And you could see a physical difference in him when he was serving and when he wasn't. He's a bishop in our ward, and he was called just a few weeks before we found the tumor. So we've kind of done this bishop thing as we did the cancer thing. And there were so many times when I just wanted to keep him home and I just wanted to give him rest. And, it was so tempting to say, Jason, just sit, just rest, just, take a load off. But whenever he would go and, do his duty, it was amazing to see the difference in him. I would have people come up to me in church and say, are you sure he has cancer? Because he looked so good, especially on Sundays up in front of the congregation. He would look amazing. And there was an absolute physical change in him. It was amazing to watch.
We had a health scare with our daughter when she was really young. And it was right after we felt impressed to move to Arizona. And it was like, okay, well, what do we do now? Because all the doctors in our medical team are all here in California. And my mom was asking me, what are you going to do? And I thought for a little bit, I go, well, we're going to keep moving forward. Like the Lord knew that we were going to have this problem when he told us to come move out to Arizona. And so we pressed forward and went on, and we came out on the other side so much better. And we love being here now, but it just, as you listen to the Lord and do what he wants, blessings come for sure.
Right. Well, and that's what I loved about that last section where it talks about, I think it's section 3, where it talks about what you find yourself through that service. I think you see people and the change that happens in them, and they start to become their true selves. We kind of I think the world teaches us that you're supposed to figure out who you are and you're supposed to define who you are. And I think what you learn in that process is the Lord intended you to become something greater than you ever could have. But it's only through that service and through that dedication that you actually start to become that person. You have to kind of put the grit and time into to become. And anyway, I just love that thought. I think it's a beautiful message.
Yeah, well, and it's how you become the person that Heavenly Father wants you to be. And I think that's the biggest thing is that, when you try to find yourself, you're going to find your best self. And the best way to do that is to do what God wants, to do that work. My wife, I remember she read that book, Eat, Pray, Love, that was super popular a few years ago. And she had a hard time with it. She's like,
me too.
She is so selfish. The whole idea of like, I'm going to leave everyone I care about and just work on me for a little bit is not how it works. That's not the divine plan.
Right. In fact, it's exactly opposite. That's what I think is so interesting is those people that who are on that, endeavor to find themselves, they take forever because, you don't really find anything. I think what we find when we really search is that we couldn't even imagine who we're supposed to be. You can't wrap your head around that. So I love that about the gospel. And it kind of reinforces that every calling is intended to make you happy, right? That's the whole purpose behind it, which is ironic.
Yeah,
he talks what we think of.
I know, like nursery again.
Right. Exactly.
I love he talks about how he says to serve wherever you're called to serve. Do what you're asked to do. I remember being a missionary and talking to my dad when he was in a bishopric, and he said, Grady, when you get home, when you're asked to serve in a calling, don't say no to a calling. Yeah. We've prayed about it as a bishopric, and it breaks my heart because we feel like this person would be a blessing in their lives, and they'd bless the people that they serve, but they say no. And usually the reasons they give are not legitimate. It's not like, hey, I've got this major trial, or hey, we just put our house on the market. It's like, oh, I really don't like kids. and granted, maybe that kid's not the best, I would say, let's talk about this rather than no.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think our default reaction is to fear, right? We always think that whatever it is, we're not enough. I'm not patient enough for nursery. I'm not fun enough for young women's. I'm not devoted enough for scouts. And I think what we learn is it's through that service that you become enough, right? That's through that process that he's going to make you enough. But we always kind of dig our heels in because we think we can't possibly be enough. I'm too busy. I can't make it work. And
And just that mindset shift of, rather than why I can't make it work, how am I going to make this work?
Right.
I think it's such a greater position to be in, to receive that growth and those blessings. Any that we get into a blessing for us, we will become able to grow to that point where we are a good fit for that calling, and then we get released. That's just how it goes usually. I love what he says, that every calling is necessary to the advancement of the work. Never demean a responsibility in the church. A lot of times I'll joke around, and everyone kind of jokes around about Sunday school presidents, and kind of is as it is currently constituted. But I remember I served as Sunday school president, and I loved it.
Yeah,
because I read the manual, and I'm like, oh.
Hey,
I'm supposed to help everyone to be better teachers. I'm supposed to be teaching teachers how to teach, not only in Sunday school, but in all the auxiliaries and in home and in family. And so I came to ward council guys, I have ideas. Let's do this stuff. And that's not what you do.
You know that?
Yeah, just ring the bell and pass out the roll, and you're good. Right. And so I grew a ton from that, because I started doing teacher training, and I learned how to be a better teacher as I read the manuals and said, okay, if I get to teach someone how to do this, I got to do it myself. Right. And so even a calling where it's like that, hey, let's give him something he can't screw up. I grew a ton from that experience, and I think it really helped me to grow and to progress.
Yeah, I've seen that too. When Jason got called, as the bishop's wife, you generally get kind of you hate to say lesser, but you get smaller callings because so much of his time is needed, and you got to be home a little more. So I started to collect.
And he probably leans on you a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do like the word bulletin now, and I'm the personal progress leader. But I found one thing that you end up subbing all over the place, which has been a real blessing, right? You get to sub in Sunday school, you get to sub in primary and in young women's, and those are opportunities I didn't get before when I was gospel doctrine teacher. It's a cool position to be in. I think that's a piece of what he means when he says there are no small callings. I think it's because whatever calling you're in, you're going to end up doing 20 more anyway. He's going to use you in all kinds of places. Yeah, and especially it might start out as a small calling, but when you magnify it, you can make immense blessings in people's lives. Well, Maria, is there anything else from this lesson that stood out to you? Oh, I loved the end. I really thought it was beautiful. I'll pull it over, but I like that he encourages you to get lost in the best cause on earth. I think is how he said it, or something like that. So many people are trying to figure out which nonprofit is the best one for me to be a part of, what volunteer service is the best one for me to do. And I think what he tells us is you're already in it. You just dig in and serve and do whatever you can in the place you are, and he'll magnify you and make you greater than you were. And I love that thought. What about you?
Yeah. And I like that too, just because the way that you say is this is the best cause. And of course there's other things that are valuable out there. Yeah. And so if you do want to reach out, the church has done a great job of setting that up. They've got their justserve.org website where there's lots of other worthwhile places to serve, but all within the umbrella of saying, hey, as members of the church, we get involved in our community, we get involved in our church, and we go out and we help other people.
Yeah, it's like a gateway.
It's all in this umbrella that as Christians, we should be giving Christ-like service.
Right. Yeah, I love that too. And I feel like the serving in the church gives you the foundation of, security and self-confidence and all of those things, so that you can go out into the world and do better in all of those different avenues. Oh, did I lose you again in our last couple minutes?
Yeah, from
I can't hear you, but I'm assuming we're wrapping. There you are. There. See, now I can hear you laugh.
Oh, okay.
We might have to do this again, Grady.
So I know we're fine. That's the whole fun thing. I'm John. John asked if I'm on dial-up.
Yes, it's because he's in like 120-degree temperatures. They melt cable.
I know. I think all my internet cables are just melting outside. So that's the problem is. I
can't even blame it on my kids sharing the Wi-Fi. I can't explain it.
They're all gone.
They're all gone. It's just me.
I was just saying in Kiwanis that I learned in Minnesota a little while as the Kiwanis Club president because no one else would say yes. Learn how to keep an agenda. And those are all admin things that I think are kind of a lost art. A lot of times we don't know what to do in an agenda meeting. We know we're supposed to have a meeting, so we meet for an hour and we talk about stuff. But it really helped me to know how to get stuff done in the meeting, how to create assignments, and then go and do all things as we go out there and serve.
Yeah.
Well, Maria, tell me about
that so young
coming up.
Oh, I've got a few things coming up. I've got some, I did a big launch of missionary stuff on my website. I've sold it on Etsy for years. Now finally have it over on MeckMom.com. So that's fun to me. And then I also have a big Studio C segment coming up on the 17th. So I'm a mom hacker, if that's a thing.
I totally get that. Yeah.
I like to make mom life a little easier with tips and tricks. So Studio 5 has me come on monthly and share some hacks on how to make things easier. And this time I did, gearing up for the 24th of July and the 4th of July. So you can see that on the 17th at about 10, I think is when it shows. Mountain time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll put a link to it in the show notes so that you guys can find out more about that since it's going to be in still a few more days here. But I already checked out. You're talking about that on the episode or new stuff?
I'm sorry, say that again one more time.
Are you going to be talking about the things you already posted, like in the 4th of July post that you had, or new things?
Yeah, there's a few new things, and some of those mixed in, so there's a little bit of both.
I love the Kerplunk game that you made. That one was really cool.
Thank you. It's a good time user. It sucks time.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to play that one. I got to go make that. I'm going to go to Dollar Tree and go figure that stuff out.
We got no kids at home. Go on over.
Right. I know, right? I can play Kerplunk by myself.
Exactly. You'll win. Good job.
I did it.
Woo.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it. It's been fun talking with you about service. Over on This Mormon Life at this-mormon-life.com. When I'm in charge of dinner, when my wife has a meeting to go to, I have two modes: super awesome chef dad or super easy, I don't want to do that stuff dad. And so I posted about kind of when I'm number 2, which is like the dad, we're hungry, and I go, okay, go make some cereal.
Right.
And I actually love having cereal for dinner.
I saw it was like Golden Ground for your go-to, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then if I'm feeling like I'm okay, I'm going to be shake, Golden Graham s'more bars and all that stuff. And so there's no in between with me. I'm either all out, I've made a mess in the kitchen, or I'm playing video games.
Right. Both are good. It's good. Moms do that too.
Have you heard of them before? True Crew. They do awesome temple socks. They're really cool.
Oh no, I've never seen those before. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, and they're on top of it. I think they already have one for the Tucson, Arizona temple, so they're pretty quick, but they make really cool looking socks. So yeah, they're a cool thing to check out. Well, awesome guys. Well, hey, thank you for joining us this evening. We hope that what we shared today helps you to get more out of your lesson, whether you are going to be there sitting in the second row, not the front row, no one sits there, and participating in the lesson now and having things to share. If you're a teacher looking for teaching tips, or if you're someone like auxiliary in the quorum or in the class for the society, and so I never get to actually have these lessons. So hopefully you feel like you're a part of that quorum again, or that class, and you can talk with your friends about what the lesson was on Sunday. And on behalf of Maria, my name is Grady, and we wish you guys a fond adieu.
Thanks. See you guys.
Oh.